Introduction. There are novels that confuse readers, and then there are novels that unsettle reality itself. The Trial by Franz Kafka belongs firmly in the second category. It begins with an arrest without explanation and ends without resolution. In between, it traps readers inside a world ruled by invisible systems, unclear rules, and endless anxiety. Today we're counting down the 20 most Kafkaesque facts about The Trial, a novel that feels less like a story and more like a condition. These facts reveal how bureaucracy becomes destiny, how guilt exists without crime, and how meaning disappears the moment you search for it. By the end, you'll understand why The Trial remains one of the most disturbing works of modern literature. Let's begin. Fact 20. Arrest without reason. Joseph K. is arrested at the very beginning of the trial, yet no explanation is ever provided. He is not taken away, restrained, or isolated. Instead, he is informed that he is under arrest and then allowed to continue his life almost normally. This creates immediate psychological confusion. Arrest traditionally implies clarity, an accusation, a charge, a violation. Kafka removes all of that, leaving only authority without justification. The strange power of this moment lies in its familiarity. Joseph K. reacts not with panic, but irritation. He assumes the situation will resolve itself logically. Kafka uses this reaction to expose how deeply people trust systems, even when those systems offer no explanation. The arrest becomes a permanent state rather than an event. Fact 19. Invisible court. The court in The Trial has no clear location. It exists in attics, storage rooms, and hidden corridors inside ordinary buildings. There are no grand halls or formal entrances. Instead, legal proceedings unfold in cramped, uncomfortable spaces that feel temporary and improvised. This bizarre setup suggests that the legal system is not separate from daily life. It is embedded within it. Kafka presents justice not as a visible institution, but as an omnipresent force operating quietly in the background. The lack of a central courthouse reinforces the idea that authority does not need visibility to function. Fact 18. Guilt before crime. In The Trial, guilt exists before any crime is named. Joseph K. is assumed to be guilty from the start, even though no one tells him what he has done. The court never seeks truth or clarification. It only processes guilt as a given. This inversion of justice is deeply Kafkaesque. Guilt is not a consequence of wrongdoing. It is a condition of existence. Kafka suggests that modern systems no longer need evidence. They rely on assumption and procedure. The more he tries to explain himself, the more entangled he becomes. This creates a terrifying logic. Defending yourself implies guilt, and silence offers no escape. Fact 17. Endless procedure. Legal proceedings in The Trial never move toward resolution. Hearings repeat without progress. Officials offer advice but no solutions. Every step forward leads to another delay. Kafka portrays bureaucracy as a machine that exists solely to continue operating. It does not aim for justice, closure, or clarity. Its only purpose is self-preservation. Joseph K. becomes trapped in endless preparation, waiting for hearings, consulting lawyers, submitting documents that change nothing. This procedural infinity drains his energy and sense of self. The system wins not by punishment, but by exhaustion. Kafka suggests that modern power no longer needs force, it only needs time. Fact 16. Law without meaning. The laws governing Joseph K.'s case are never explained. No rulebook exists, no official defines what is allowed or forbidden. The law operates without language. This absence creates constant anxiety. Joseph K. cannot follow rules he does not know, yet he is punished for failing to follow them. Kafka exposes how authority becomes most powerful when it is undefined. When rules are unclear, Individuals internalize guilt and self-police endlessly. The law becomes psychological rather than legal. Fact 15. Authority is casual. Court officials behave casually, even lazily. Guards argue over breakfast. Judges appear distracted. Clerks seem bored. This casual tone makes authority more disturbing. Power is not dramatic or threatening. It is indifferent. Kafka shows that systems do not need cruelty to function. Indifference is enough. Joseph K.'s life is dismantled not by villains, but by ordinary people doing routine tasks. This suggests that harm does not require malice. It only requires participation. Fact 14. Lawyers complicate everything. Joseph K.'s lawyer offers no real help. Instead, he introduces more confusion, delay, and dependency. Legal assistance becomes another trap. Kafka presents professional expertise as self-serving. The lawyer understands the system but benefits from its complexity. Resolution would end his role. This creates a perverse incentive to prolong the process. Joseph K. realizes that knowledge within the system does not grant power. It deepens entanglement. Expertise becomes another form of control. Fact 13. Women as gatekeepers. Female characters in the trial often act as intermediaries to power. They promise access, influence, or guidance, but never resolution. This creates a strange dynamic where intimacy intersects with authority. Kafka suggests that personal relationship cannot escape institutional logic. Even desire becomes procedural. These encounters offer hope, but that hope always collapses into further confusion. Access does not equal escape. Fact 12. Work continues. Normally, despite his arrest, Joseph K. continues working at his bank. His professional life remains intact at first. This coexistence of normalcy and crisis is unsettling. Kafka shows how systems allow individuals to function while being quietly dismantled. Life does not stop for injustice. Instead, injustice becomes part of routine. Joseph K.'s gradual decline is subtle, making it harder to resist. Fact 11. No final judgment. There is no clear verdict in the trial. The process ends, but meaning does not. Kafka denies readers the closure they expect. Justice is never delivered because justice was never the goal. The ending reinforces the novel's core idea. Systems do not exist to resolve. They exist to continue. Fact 10. Time loses shape. Time in the trial feels distorted. Days blur together. Progress is impossible to measure. This temporal confusion reflects bureaucratic experience. When outcomes are unclear, time becomes meaningless. Kafka captures the anxiety of waiting without purpose. Fact 9. Shared ignorance. Throughout the trial, nearly everyone seems to know about the court, yet no one can explain it clearly. Landladies, co-workers, lawyers, and officials all reference the system as if it is common knowledge. However, when Joseph K. asks direct questions, answers dissolve into vague statements, half-truths, or contradictions. This creates a world where information exists everywhere, but clarity exists nowhere. Knowledge becomes social rather than factual. The most Kafkaesque element is that no one questions this structure. Ignorance becomes normalized, accepted as part of daily life, revealing how systems survive by making confusion feel ordinary. Fact 8. Shame over punishment. Joseph K. is rarely threatened with physical consequences. Instead, he experiences growing shame. His trial does not isolate him physically, it isolates him psychologically. He begins to feel embarrassed about his case, avoiding discussion and hiding details from others. The court never needs to punish him directly. It allows him to punish himself. Kafka suggests that modern authority functions internally. Control no longer requires force when individuals absorb judgment into their identity. Joseph K. becomes increasingly self-conscious, questioning his worth and behavior even without accusation. Fact 7. Futile resistance. Joseph K. frequently considers resisting the court. He plans speeches, imagines confronting officials, and briefly asserts confidence. Yet every attempt at resistance dissolves into hesitation. He never fully rebels because rebellion itself feels unclear and pointless. Kafka presents resistance as something that requires understanding, and understanding is deliberately unavailable. The system defeats opposition by making action feel irrational. Joseph K. senses that fighting back may worsen his situation, though he cannot explain why. This uncertainty paralyzes him. Kafka suggests that when authority becomes abstract, resistance loses direction. Fact 6. Language conceals. Truth language in the trial does not clarify, it obscures. Court officials speak in formal, circular phrases that offer no concrete meaning. Conversations stretch on without resolution, filled with legal terminology that explains nothing. Words create the illusion of communication while preventing understanding. Kafka exposes how language becomes a tool of authority. When meaning is buried under abstraction, individuals lose their ability to question. Joseph K. listens carefully, hoping for clarity, but finds only repetition. The more language he encounters, the less he understands. This creates exhaustion rather than insight. Fact 5. Faceless power. No single villain exists in the trial. Authority is collective, distributed, and impersonal. Every official claims limited responsibility. No one appears fully in charge. This absence of a central figure makes accountability impossible. Fact 4. Gradual erosion. Joseph K.'s decline is slow and subtle. He does not collapse immediately. Instead, his confidence erodes piece by piece. He becomes distracted at work, impatient with others, and increasingly anxious. There is no dramatic turning point, only accumulation. By the time Joseph K. realizes what is happening, he no longer has the strength to oppose it. Fact 3. Innocence is useless. Joseph K. insists on his innocence, but it carries no weight. The court does not investigate facts or motives. Innocence has no procedural value. The system does not seek truth, it seeks continuation. Kafka overturns traditional justice. In the trial, innocence is irrelevant because guilt is assumed. Joseph K.'s moral integrity offers no protection. This creates existential dread. Fact 2. Meaningless ending. The novel's ending offers finality without explanation. It reinforces the idea that the system does not operate according to understanding. It operates according to process. This denial of meaning is intentional. Kafka wants readers to experience the same confusion as his protagonist. Fact 1. Endless trial. Even after the novel ends, the trial feels unfinished. The logic of the court continues beyond the page. The system survives Joseph K. completely intact. Kafka's most disturbing achievement is making the trial feel ongoing. It does not belong only to the story. It extends into the reader's world. The trial never truly ends because its structure exists everywhere. Closing remarks. The trial remains one of the most unsettling novels ever written, not because of dramatic events, but because of how familiar its logic feels. Kafka exposes a world where authority operates without explanation, guilt exists without cause, and meaning disappears under procedure. The novel offers no guidance and no escape, only recognition. Whether you see it as political, psychological, or existential, the trial continues to reflect modern life in disturbing ways. If you've reached the end of this breakdown, you've explored 20 of the most Kafkaesque facts hidden inside this masterpiece. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into literature and power, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more explorations into the strange machinery of human systems.